Jim, thank you for joining me. You take a look at the results that you delivered this morning. You boosted your adjusted profit and revenue outlook for 2026. Your shares hitting a record high this morning as well. Talk us through the main growth drivers that you see when you take a look over the course of this year.
Yeah, first, Katie, thanks for having us on this morning. In terms of the growth drivers, we really think there's two or three major things going on. One, unfortunately, is still all of the chronic care disease management that's occurring in the country. Type 2 diabetes at an all-time high, autoimmune disorders, cancer rates, younger and younger patients being diagnosed with cancer, colon cancer in particular. So all of this is leading to a lot of testing, as you can imagine, and helping people diagnose, helping people figure out what the right therapy they should select, and then actually monitoring the disease. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, and this is really a more recent phenomenon, is all the new testing from a consumer health standpoint. So, prevention is all about doing something before the symptoms set in. And between our own consumer health offering and then partnerships that we've developed in the industry, we are really powering the wellness industry today. So our relationships with Function Health, our relationships with Whoop, with Aura, we're trying to make lab testing ubiquitous to consumers, especially those that really have a focus on prevention and wellness. But really, it's those two things, Katie, that are really driving the growth.
Well, I'm glad you brought up consumer health and some of the partnerships you have, Whoop and Aura being some of them. You also have partnerships with HIMSS and Function Health, I see as well. How do you see that part of the business evolving? How meaningful of a growth driver can that be?
Yeah, so to put all of that in context between our own direct business, our own consumer direct business, plus our partnerships with all those that you mentioned, it's about a $250 million segment, and we did $11 billion last year. So it's meaningful. What's more meaningful is that segment grew at over 30% last year, and we expect it to continue to grow, north of 20% this year. And again, what we're seeing is just consumers taking more interest in their health with this notion of let's prevent disease. Let's try to get in front of that. If we look at our business today, about 2/3 of it is diagnosis of disease, treatment of disease, treatment monitoring, and really only a third of our business is prevention and wellness, general health and wellness testing. Honestly, I hope over the next decade we can flip that. I really hope that we can be 2/3 prevention and wellness and then a third chronic care management. That's really our purpose in life, right? We try to illuminate answers. We try to illuminate what's going on inside one's body with the hope that they'll take action long before disease sets in. And that's really our goal, is to help illuminate answers that people ask, that people have questions about.
Well, on the broad topic of testing, I was taking a look at your earnings call, reading through the transcript, and you mentioned that you're seeing tremendous uplift when it comes to your Alzheimer's portfolio of tests. And I mean, when you zoom out a bit, what are you seeing in terms of trends when it comes to what types of tests are being asked for and ordered?
Yeah, Alzheimer's, Katie, is a very, very important set of tests that we now offer. Before blood-based biomarkers came to fruition with respect to Alzheimer's, the gold standard were cognitive tests that physicians perform, and then they would move that patient directly into imaging, whether that's a PET-CT image or an MRI image. And today what we're seeing is there's blood-based biomarkers for amyloid plaque, for what we call these tau bundles. And you're actually going to detect Alzheimer's at a much earlier stage than what you would see in imaging. And some of the new therapies that have been brought to market by Eisai and by Lilly, these therapies generally work really, really well at the earliest stages of disease onset. So these biomarkers are playing a very, very important role today. We position these blood-based tests with primary care physicians as well as neurologists. Today, if you have symptoms of Alzheimer's, it can take upwards of 6 to 8 months to get in to see a memory care specialist. And patients just don't want to wait that long because, again, there's therapies available if you are diagnosed. So having access to these blood-based biomarkers that primary care physicians can order can then get you an appointment with a primary care physician, with a specialist, a neurologist, much quicker than just simply getting on a waiting list.
And Jim, I also wanted to ask about oncology, because you think about what's going on at some of your peer diagnostics companies. Oncology testing has been driving just rapid growth. So how does Quest position itself in that space? I know that you recently bought Haystack Oncology, for example, but is that an area where you would consider additional deals?
Yeah, first, Katie, it's a very, very important part of our business today. Most people don't know, but Quest Diagnostics has a very large anatomical pathology business. Anatomical pathology is when specimens are cut from the human body. They're tissue samples, and so we have the largest anatomical pathology business in the country, where we make diagnoses of cancer every single day. Now, once you have that tumor specimen, there's several follow-on tests that are very important. The first being, what type of therapy should be used to treat that cancer after treatment, or potentially right after surgery. The next question is, did the surgeon get it all, or did the chemotherapy eradicate that disease? And we have a test, you mentioned the Haystack minimally residual disease testing, that looks for very, very small remnants of the cancer that may remain either post-surgery or post-chemotherapy. So it's a growing portion of our portfolio of testing today. Now, in addition, we offer a lot of routine cancer tests, PSA screening, all sorts of different types of cancer markers at the screening phase. So all told, cancer, of our $11 billion portfolio today, cancer in its entirety is about $1 billion of our portfolio.
And Jim, just quickly here before I let you go, as I mentioned at the outset, your share is at a record high right now. Are there any other areas where you would consider pursuing M&A here?
Katie, we're always looking for opportunities to grow the business. Where we've been most active is in what we call the hospital outreach market, where we purchase from hospitals that have chosen to do their laboratory work from their primary care physicians and other physicians in their network. And many times the hospitals just say, that's not really a big profitable opportunity for that. And so we buy that book of business. So we call those hospital outreach deals. We've done 5 or 6 in the last couple of years, and we'll continue to pursue those. And then we're always looking for capability enhancing. So areas within the healthcare domain that we may not be playing today. So capability building types of deals like Haystack.
All right, Jim, thank you so much for your time. That was great.